Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. My name is Jeff Painter. I serve as Senior Director in a group called Safety, Innovation, and Analytics at GSK. Our offices are just down the road across from the Durham Bulls Park. And my colleague presenting with me today, Venkat, is a Senior Manager in our PV Ops team. He's truly one of the top experts in the world in understanding how our drug safety database systems work. General disclaimer, the views we're presenting today are our own and not necessarily those of our employers. I came to GSK around 2006, and I've spent probably half my career in drug discovery and the other half in drug safety. And you may say, what is drug safety? Or what we call pharmacovigilance. So the drug development process, you may have heard, takes anywhere from 10 to 15 years before a molecule becomes an actual medicine, which becomes a product that your doctor can prescribe to you. Now, once the product is on the market, all the research that we've done up to that time is typically through controlled clinical trials. And we don't have access necessarily to how that medicine is behaving in the general population. And so we work in a department called Global Safety, which is responsible for post-marketing surveillance. And so if you take a medicine and something bad happens to you, then generally you'll tell your HCP or your pharmacist, and they're going to fill out a safety report. There are four main components to what we call an ICSR, or an individual case safety report. It requires knowing there's an actual patient, who reported this event, what drug you were taking, and what actually happened to you. And so why is this important? Well, it's to ensure public health, number one. Two, we have regulatory compliance issues. So we collect these reports and feed them back to the FDA and the European Medical Agency. And, we care more about our patients than people might think. We want people to have positive effects from our medicines, and so we need to understand what the safety risks and profiles of those medicines are. So what is an adverse event? So you take a medicine and something that was unintended for its intended use happens to you. This could be harmful or unharmful. It would still be an adverse event, and we still want to know about it and collect it in our systems to better understand the profile of medicines. Off the record story, the drug Viagra was not originally built to treat ED. It was supposed to be for alopecia or hair loss. And they discovered in clinical trials it had an adverse event. And then they said, we're going to remarket that product. So where did drug safety begin? It really started in the 1960s with the unfortunate release of a product called thalidomide. This medicine was prescribed for women to help alleviate nausea during pregnancy. And it had a very unfortunate side effect of causing birth defects in nearly half the people that took it. And some really smart doctors in the 60s around the world, from New Zealand to England, started to talk to each other and say, we need to start collecting these reports and build systems around understanding how these things can affect people and individuals. Through the 70s and 80s, we saw the birth of electronic health medical record systems. And then through the 90s, we started seeing much larger and larger data come on board. And the founder of my group is actually Dr. Andrew Bate, who built the first AI-based novel method for signal detection while he was working at the World Health Organization. So this is a high-level overview of our business process in safety. So we get these reports from multiple channels. So they can come from email, we have call centers, social media reports, clinical trials. So all these different channels of which data comes in. And then we have to process, evaluate, and report those cases back to regulatory bodies within how much?
7 days.
Within 7 days.
Yeah.
And you may say, oh, that doesn't sound too bad, but we're getting thousands of cases a day. Our global safety team is several hundred PharmD MDs who are specialists in their therapeutic area. And currently, all of these reports are reviewed manually. And we're trying to change that. So once we get all these reports, this this data is then cleaned up, redacted, we test for duplicates. There's a lot of things that we have to do before we officially send it to FDA. And you can go at any time to what's called the Federal Adverse Event Reporting System, or FAERS, their public dashboard, and you can search any medicine, any adverse event, and see those results, which come from all this data that we're collecting. Since COVID-19, I think roughly 2.3 million new safety cases were reported in 2019 alone, more than doubling all the safety reports that had been collected up to 1960 before that. As I said, all of these cases require human review. We have limited human resource. We can't just make new safety scientists every day. And so we're trying to figure out how we can utilize AI and LLMs and generative technology to push the needle further and reduce the amount of, I'm not going to say they're not important, but less meaningful safety reports or things that we already know about, and we're just collecting and reprocessing the same information. So our group has been working the last 3 years across several different research avenues. About 3 years ago, we started trying to fine-tune some models for a specific translation case. So we operate in over 100 countries, collecting reports in multiple languages. All of those have to be translated into English for reporting to FDA. And so we looked at, can we translate Japanese cases automatically into English? And that led us to find, we need guardrails. We really have to figure out how you avoid hallucinations, how you basically rein in the LLM in tasks like these. And so there's a paper coming out in Scientific Reports any day now that talks about our use of guardrails. Secondly, trustworthy AI. So we're trying to influence our regulators that these methods are acceptable. And so there's a paper there in Nature Review, Trustworthy AI for Safe Medicines. Now, Venkat and I have been working more on hands on the ground. And one of the projects we looked at was trying to utilize LLMs in a RAG model. Everybody's heard RAGs today, to help our users better access and understand all of our operating procedures. When a new safety scientist comes on board, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks for them to train and learn all of our policies. And so if we have AI-assisted search, it could help in onboarding them more quickly. And finally, we just published a paper, it's in JAMIA, where we're using LLMs to try to automate. If you were at Ben's talk earlier this morning, he was talking about Jen wanting to talk to her data. We have published this report that says how you can talk to your data better by embedding your expert, capturing all of Venkat's knowledge and sharing it with the LLM so that it can translate your natural queries into SQL more reliably. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Venkat to talk about the next evolution of what we're doing and looking at multi-agent AI.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everyone. My name is Venkat, and I have been working on the PV pharmacovigilance systems and data in the past decade. Today, I'm going to talk about the current PV operating model. Let's say if you receive an adverse event from a patient, on the left-hand side, it will go through the process like case booking. The intake user will be booking in that case manually to the safety database. And then it goes through the case processing, and then finally it will be reported to the regulatory authorities. In United States, it's FDA. Can you guess how long it takes to process a case? On an average, it takes 5 to 7 days to process one single case. For a large pharma company like GSK or Pfizer, they receive thousands of cases in a day. Everything is manual. There is no automatic processing. What we are seeing is the biggest challenge. The volumes are increasing exponentially year on year. So in case if you receive more cases, you just add more FTE. On an average, one user can process 10 to 15 cases per day. That means if you receive 1,000 more cases, you just calculate and add more human resources. That cannot be sustainable. And the cost is also increasing. The reason the average cost of processing a case is nearly $33. And the actual cost may change. It depends on the case complexity and the case type. So current traditional approaches to handle the cases, these are not efficient. So our vision is have a network of autonomous AI agents process these cases end-to-end with minimal human intervention. So that is our vision. If I look at the data formats, there are 3 categories of data formats. One is structured. It's a standard E2B XML. And most of the safety databases has the processing capability. As soon as you receive the XML file, systems can parse, validate, and upload the data into the safety database. So most of these XML processing is automated. And second category is semi-structured. So cases coming in PDF form, it can be clinical form, or it can be COMS form or MedWatch form. Some companies have already tried traditional ML models and OCR technology, or even RPA, robotic process automation. They were successful. The challenge is whenever there is a change to your form, you will have to retrain your ML models. Now here is an opportunity. Large language models are more promising. You can increase the level of automation for semi-structured as well. The actual opportunity is for the unstructured. That is where the LLMs or Gen AI are more effective. So roughly 30% of your case volumes are coming through unstructured. These are social media cases or cases coming in emails. So we have tried creating agentic-based solution to automatically triage these cases, classify these cases. So for example, if you receive 100 emails in a day, 50% of the emails are not adverse events, non-adverse events. So there humans are manually filtering those. So if you can automate it, it will help the team. So there are a number of roles like intake specialist, intake manager, workflow manager, and data entry manager, and report submission, etc. So all these roles you can create an AI agent parallel to your business organization, business roles. Next one is, I will take an example scenario. Let's say a patient traveled from United States to Canada for a conference and purchased a medicine, over-the-counter medicine, and after returning back to the US, started experiencing the side effects. Patient and doctor reported this event to the pharma company, and intake user manually reviewing that information to book in this case into the adverse event database, safety database. So here, one of the key field is country of occurrence. Country of occurrence is one of the important key field. Currently, it's a human read the email manually, including the attachment, and determine the country of occurrence. Why it is important? If you choose the wrong country of occurrence, the corresponding report may be, you may be submitting to the wrong country. So instead of submitting to the FDA, you may be submitting to the Canada agency. So that is why making the right decision is important here. So what we tried, the key question, can we use large language models to make the automation of the business decisions? So in this example, we used the open source language models and also OpenAI large language models and RAG-based framework to test this scenario. On the right-hand side, we ingested or indexed all our business standard operating procedures and knowledge documents and asked the LLM, can you choose the right country of occurrence for a given adverse event? So when we tried this scenario, initially the accuracy was low. Then we were looking at what is going wrong and why LLMs cannot accurately determine the country of occurrence. Then we realized the rules, business rules around the country of occurrence were scattered around n number of pages, n number of documents. There, LLMs were struggling to find the information, relevant information in the RAG model. Then we changed the approach. Instead of asking LLM to go and find the correct information, we created a consolidated list of rules around the country of occurrence. And now we asked LLM, can you decide the country of occurrence? Then the accuracy increased to the 98%. So here underlying one key lesson we learned was whatever the standard operating procedures we have within the business organization, those were created for the humans, not for the LLMs. There is a need to rewrite or relook at these SOPs to make your AI systems work. So anybody, if you are trying to automate your business decision, then you must relook at your knowledge repositories and then rewrite. And some of the core LLM capabilities, most of you people might have already tried, like Q&A and document summarizations, translations, etc. All these use cases we have at least experimented. But the key thing is LLMs are not autonomous. They do have limitations. So one of the limitations is LLMs cannot perform the actions. So LLMs can only give the answers, and they have a limited finite context. So how can we overcome these limitations? The answer is AI agents. So what is an AI agent? Any entity which works independently without the external instructions. Every agent will have a goal. In this case, the agent will have a goal like process the case end to end. So agents have constantly perceiving the environment, what is changing around the agent. For example, intake agent is looking at the mailbox. As soon as a new email arrives, then it will start analyzing the information, then categorize, prioritize, and then extract the information. And to perform the action, for example, to move the email from one folder to another folder, you need tools module. That is where the action happens. So when I say agents, you will have three main modules. One is planning module. Planning module, when a new case arrives, you split the task into subtasks like case intake, case data entry, case drug coding, etc. And then tool module, that is where the action happens. Memory module, you will have a short-term memory and the long-term memory. To do the actual action while performing the action, agents will retrieve the information dynamically from the memory and then execute the action. So three main modules: planning module, memory module, and tools module. Every agent will have a goal, and according to the goal, it will choose the next step. Here there are few scenarios you should consider when you design a multi-agentic solution for your business process. The first one is agent configurations. The prompts. So whatever the prompts you give as a goal or the task, those are the information coming from the business that will decide the boundaries of the agent. So every agent has a predefined set of tasks which are allowed to perform. And you can map the set of tools for each agent. And second one is agent type, homogeneous agents and heterogeneous agents. Homogeneous agents are derived out of the same LLM. You can have 3 homogeneous agents out of the same LLM. And usually, homogeneous agents are used to perform the simple tasks. Heterogeneous agents are like maybe fine-tuned model or which are designed for the specialized tasks. And the task modes, you have cooperative and competitive. So for example, intake user and the data entry user will cooperate to perform the case processing completion. And competitive, 2 intake users may be competing to do the similar activity. For example, you have 100 emails and 2 intake users are competing to process the incoming ICSRs. And knowledge sharing, agents can be, you can decide like, do I share this knowledge with all the agents or only some set of agents? So the knowledge used by the intake agents may be different from knowledge used by the data entry users. And knowledge used by QC agent may be different from the data entry users. And the interaction patterns are the sequential, parallel, and hierarchical. So you can allow the agents to work in a sequence, perform the task 1, task 2, and task 3, or you can execute the task in parallel. Hierarchical, in our case processing, we were thinking of creating one master agent. Master agent will manage the workflow and delegate the task to the intake user, intake agent, or data entry agent. So here in the hierarchy, master agent is sitting as a lead. And next one is integration with the external systems. In the business user, they do use the external systems like regulatory systems or clinical systems. Here also, look what are all the external systems agents must be integrated. And feedback loops, whatever actions performed by the agents or decisions made by the agents, make sure the humans review it and give the feedback to the agents, and that will help improve your agents. Next one in this slide, we will talk about the QC framework we are thinking. It's a proposed framework. So one of the important thing is audit log tool. So audit log tool will capture all the inputs. For example, in the country of occurrence context, that scenario, audit log tool will capture the input email, what was the email, and what was the prompts and set of rules passed to derive that country of occurrence, and what was the output produced by the large language model, and the timestamp, and every agent will have an ID. So in our framework, audit log tool is one of the important component. Second one is rule-based validation. For example, it can be a simple Python script. Let's say LLM derived age of a patient as -2. So none of the humans will have negative number, right? So you don't need human to review such kind of outputs. So you can put simple rule-based validation tool. Next one is QC agent. So I would recommend a critic agent for every agent. So QC agent is like a critic agent. The actions performed by the intake agent will be immediately reviewed by the QC agent. So here you can derive you can create QC agent out of the same language model. We started with foundation language models, but you can even try fine-tuned models. So QC agent will have clearly defined QC rules. Then it will continuously review and flag if there is any discrepancy. And QA admins are the actual business admin experts. They will review the outputs and decisions made by the intake agent. If your volumes are high, you can use randomized sampling. You can ask QA admins to periodically review the data and flag if there is an issue with the AI output and pass on that to the AI developer, and they may refine the prompt or they may even rewrite the knowledge documents. So here are the multi-level QC framework we are proposing. Then the next one is the future, what we are seeing. We envision by 2030, it is possible pharma companies can deploy multi-AI agents where all these AI agents working autonomously and with minimal human intervention. If they can achieve this, it will companies can do the proactive pharmacovigilance. Currently, it is reactive, and if we can successfully get this done, it will be proactive. Three recommendations. One is even before starting any AI project, we recommend look at your data. Most of the times we see the current practices, how you manage the data. That is a bottleneck. Like if you don't manage your data properly, if the quality is not good, the AI outputs also will not be good. So garbage in, garbage out. So one recommendation is look at your data quality and the data management practices even before starting your AI project. Second one is look at your process and try to simplify even before starting the AI project, because start with a simple process, start with an easy task instead of attempting the complex one. And try a pilot project, see the evidence, then only start the project. Without seeing the evidence, we would not recommend starting any project, especially any pharma company related, so pharma business related, because it's highly regulated. If you make a mistake, it will impact the patients. Our end goal is protect the patients, give more benefits to the patients and reduce the risk. So we are very positively hopeful. We have done a couple of experiments, and we will be continue the innovation. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Venkat. Just so everyone knows, if you want to download the slides, they're here, have the full references to all our papers and QR codes to find us. I'd just like to add that, the thing that I love most about working in drug safety is it's very similar to the open source community. Our whole, impetus is to make patients better, and we are able to publish and share our research and finding with other pharma companies, and in that way we are helping each other through this journey. So thank you. If there are any questions, I think we have a couple minutes. Yeah, sure.
Can you comment on data cleaning and curation of data when you're using unsupervised machine learning algorithms? Because I thought that the whole point is to reduce the time and and have a machine do all the cleaning and everything and manipulation in the process of.
Sure. So quick summary, the question is, how are we cleaning the data? I'm assuming this is the unstructured data that comes in. And I will say we still are 100% manual review. And what we're trying to do is demonstrate that we can get high enough reasonable reliability out of the AI LLM to convince regulators that we don't have to do 100% manual review. And so part of all of our experimentation, and where this is ongoing, is to demonstrate how reliable this is. So in the papers, we've talked about how you measure reliability, what are the ways that you detect, when the LLM goes wrong. And a lot of that will boil down to this QC framework and having clear audit trails. So at any time we can be inspected, the regulatory bodies can come in and say, show us the evidence that you're doing the right thing. And that's why we need these QC systems to really track and manage what the LLM's actions are. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, because Venkat mentioned that, that some data cleaning needs to happen.
So
Is it not possible to train the AI agent with a set of clean data, and so that you don't necessarily have to worry about garbage in, garbage out, that it knows, it has seen what a clean data looks like in the process of
yeah, there are two parts. I mean, if you train your model or fine-tune the model, selecting the right gold standard data set, that is one part. I'm not talking about fine-tuning or pre-training. The second part is when you attempt automate your business process. The current data management practices, for example, if you do not have out-of-the-box field, they may be using some existing field as an alternative. And in America region, they may be using the same field for different purpose. And Asia Pacific region using the same field for different purpose. Humans, they know because it was documented somewhere in the SOP. But when I attempt automate this process using AI agents, nobody knows exactly how they are using this data and how they are entering, how it is stored. And it requires some additional governance to make sure across the regions, people are using in the same way. Otherwise, you cannot fully automate. People think their systems are fully digitized, and their data management practices, how they are storing, how they are entering, and how they are retrieving the data. It's not consistent across the regions when you have a global, global safety kind of large organization function. So
it's complicated.
Yeah. I'm just giving an example like that in your organization. Just look at how you are managing the data. So two different groups may be using the similar fields for two different purposes. Yeah. Any question? Hi.
One of your slides there, you had a game, and I saw another slide when you had adversarial. Are you using gameplay, like generative adversarial networks to do different scenarios For predictive purposes?
Not yet.
No. You want to answer?
Sure. That figure was from probably the most highly cited LLM paper on multi-agents. So it's just giving an overview of how different agent frameworks can operate in their environments.
We took the picture from there. So.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.